Hi everybody, this is Mark Gubwan. In this video, I'm going to be going over the small business failure case study number 1, the coffee shop. Alright everybody, so what I'm going to talk to you today is about this coffee shop that I walk by pretty much every single day. I want you to watch this video till the very end because I'm going to tell you exactly the solution so that you do not end up having the same problems as this small business. Now, everybody knows the fact that 1 out of 10 small businesses that ever get started are the only ones that are actually successful. So there's 9 out of 10 businesses that absolutely do not succeed that you can use as your learning material so that you don't ever have to make those same mistakes. So what I'm going to do in this next set of case studies is I'm going to show you exactly why businesses fail. And the reason why I want to do this is because most of you will not ever experience business failures from a brick and mortar standpoint, because the target audience of these particular videos are traditionally people that create online businesses. Online businesses have a different type of overhead, and really the only barrier to success of most online business owners is actually their minds. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, a couple of observations that I had with this particular business was that I walked by it every single day because, as some of you might know, I am currently a business analyst full-time, an accountant that actually does marketing as a part-time income for right now. So what I do every single day is I walk down through this one strip of businesses every single day because I work in a downtown area. So I like to take the same route every day because it's the fastest route to work. When I walk down this street, I see all kinds of people out there. I see homeless people. I see people that have been in the office seemingly since 5 in the morning. I see people that are rushing to work. I see a lot of people that are setting up stands, food stands, you know, the whole 9 downtown. So it's really interesting to kind of see the different things that I do on a daily basis. Well, one of those things that I do see are businesses that come and go. And it seems like they just come and go and come and go and come and go. And it took me a while to really understand what exactly was happening. So there was this one coffee shop, and I was walking past it one day. I saw that it was new, so I walk in there one day and I say, "Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Mark. Are you the business owner?" And this lady, she said, "Yeah, I'm the business owner." I'm like, "So how's business going so far?" She says, "Oh, it's going pretty well." And as I'm in this coffee shop, I'm getting a quick bite to eat before I run into work. And I'm just kind of looking around and I'm asking myself, why on earth is this coffee shop just kind of like a stand? I mean, they have food in here, they've got like muffins, they've got all kinds of different things, but they're operating the business as if it was almost a full-scale coffee shop when it's really just a stand. It was kind of an inset location. They had done some major renovations to this particular location just so they can get a sink in there and a couple of outlets so that they can actually cook food. And the interesting thing was, I was thinking to myself, I was like, wow, they're putting all of this effort into this small space. I was thinking to myself, how much traffic do they need to be in this particular area in order for them to make back that investment? Because just from an eyeballing standpoint, you're talking about putting up countertops, you're talking about putting in water lines, you're talking about renovating a space that basically was used as storage. And the lease couldn't have been cheap because it's underneath a Macy's in a prime area in downtown Portland. I'm talking, it's literally the heart of Portland, Pioneer Square, if you guys know the area. So this particular coffee shop, it had this overhead, this initial sunk cost, this investment that I was watching. And I was wondering to myself, well, if this is the only employee, if this owner is the only employee, then they're going to keep their overhead down and they may be able to survive. Maybe, depending on how much working capital they had, i.e., is also known as money in the bank, cash, dollars in the bank, their working capital. Because the thing that you have to remember, folks, when you first start a business, you're not profitable. You're not profitable for a very, very long time. So what you need to realize is that if you don't have money in the bank to fund your operations before you start selling, you're going to go out of business before you even start. And that's the kind of the first problem that small businesses have, is a lack of capital. And they spend the money before they actually earn it. And then suddenly they've leveraged their home, they've leveraged all kinds of different things, and they go bankrupt. So that's really the first observation that I had, was too much overhead and initial investment that was going to be extremely large, especially from a brand new coffee shop with no brand recognition. If this was a Starbucks, I would be thinking otherwise. But this wasn't a Starbucks. Nobody knew what this place was. Which leads me to my point down here, which is no advertising, right? My last point down there at the bottom says no advertising. This particular business did not advertise. There was no ad in a newspaper. There was no ad on the streets. There wasn't anybody standing outside giving coffee samples. There wasn't anybody standing outside giving bread samples. There was nobody spreading the word that there was even a coffee shop open. If people don't know that you have a business, how the heck are you expecting that they're going to actually give you money for anything? How are you going to be found if you don't advertise? You need to make sure that you have to have a marketing plan, some form of advertising, whether it be word of mouth, whether it be straight up pounding the pavement, shoving hot coffee in people's faces until they actually smell it. I mean, that was really the key to when I was walking by. One of the things that I kind of laughed about was, oh my gosh, all they would need to do is pump the smell. Here's the thing, they were making biscuits and gravy in this small little area. I'm talking, it was like, you know, maybe, I don't know, 3 feet by 15 feet. I mean, it was like a small space, and they were making biscuits and gravy. And I was thinking to myself, one day as I walked by, I didn't smell the biscuits and gravy until I got right in front of the shop. I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, all they would need to do is blow the smell of biscuits and gravy down about 30 feet, and people would come in that direction. They would smell that food, and they did not even think outside of the box in that way. So you've got to be creative when you want to spread the word, especially if you're in a high traffic area like they were. I was actually surprised that they didn't make it. At first, I was surprised. Then, seeing things like this first point here, irregular business hours. When you start to see a business that have irregular business hours, you start to wonder what the hell they're doing. Because when you do not have business hours that are open during your peak traffic times, why on earth do you even operate your business? I mean, I can see their thought process at some of their hours. They were open really early in the morning, so they ended late, mid-afternoon. So they're probably up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, you know, getting the shop ready. And then they're probably leaving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The problem with that, people, is the 3 o'clock slump when you've got skyscrapers surrounding you, full of employees that drink so much coffee that their brains explode. They hit the 3 o'clock slump, they need coffee. They were closed already. So what are people going to do? They're going to go over to the Starbucks because it's the only thing open. Starbucks is always open. Always open. The only time Starbucks isn't open is probably right around 6 or 7, I think, is when Starbucks usually closes. They should stay open at least as long as their competitor. Their competitor was literally 2 blocks away. which is absolutely unacceptable if you're going to compete with a brand that large, that close. You got to stay open at least until they close. The regular business hours was just kind of like a huge red flag for me. Too many employees. I saw the business owner the first week or two, and then I saw 3 or 4 different people. Okay? So let's just tally this up here, people. Let's just say that you have a 15-hour, let's just calculate this out. You've got $15 an hour, let's just say. Be modest here. $15 an hour. You're open, I think they're open from, let's just say they're open till from 6 a.m. to 6 to 2, so the 8 hours, okay? 15 times 8 times 5. Okay, that's $600. Let's just say it what it hold just one day. Okay, that's $120 per employee per day. Okay. Now let's just say you have $3 coffee. 120 divided by 3. You need to sell 40 cups of coffee at $3. Right, so 15 times 8, 120 divided by $3 cup of coffee, so that's 40 cups of coffee. 40 cups of coffee. I did not ever see more than 1 or 2 people ever at the most in that store, or even standing at that coffee shop ever. So with the fact that they had more than 3 I think the total employee count was probably 3, and rarely did I ever see the owner there, and the business failed. So you're talking about paying 3 different people at least $120 a day, right? Minus taxes, right? We're not talking about taxes or anything like that. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to pay somebody if you're not getting at least 40 customers a day. That's 40 customers divided by 8. That's 5 customers an hour. 5 customers an hour, and I never saw more than 1 or 2 people ever in the store ever. That's 5 customers an hour. You know, that's not that much when it comes to coffee. Okay, that's 5 cups of coffee. I know people that drink more than 5 cups of coffee a day. You know, and the fact that they couldn't sell that much is either meant that their coffee sucked, or that they just didn't know how to find their target market and sell to that target market, which leads me to the next point. The cardinal sin. They had no unique selling proposition. There's a Pete's Coffee, a Starbucks, every other restaurant in the area that sold coffee. Why would somebody walking down the street suddenly stop, dead in their tracks, turn and get coffee? It's either you better have a damn good cup of joe, or you need something unique that they need or want. That was the cardinal sin. That was the one thing that they did not have. If you don't have that, then you're dead in the water. Why on earth would anybody want to buy a cup of coffee from you if you didn't even have a good cup of coffee? If you didn't have a good cup of coffee, you better have some damn good conversation or something else. But that really in and of itself was a big problem. So let's give an example of a unique selling proposition. Domino's Pizza back in the day, 30 minutes or less, or your pizza is free. 30-minute delivery or your pizza was free. Domino's Pizza became one of the biggest pizza chains in the entire history of pizza because of that one unique selling proposition. Because of laws and the whole deal, they can't offer that anymore. But I mean, it's hard to beat that, right? So FedEx, another unique selling proposition is FedEx. What is it exactly? When you absolutely need it there tomorrow or something like that. So FedEx next day delivery, right? That was their unique selling proposition. It didn't matter when you mailed it, it would get there overnight. Obviously they had a cutoff, but if you could get it to them by the cutoff, they guaranteed the overnight delivery. They guaranteed overnight delivery. They pride themselves on going above and beyond it. I can't even imagine what it would be like to work for a company like that, but you know that their employees bend over backwards there. Their unique selling proposition is something that skyrocketed that company. And that could be a case study in and of itself about a successful business model, but maybe we'll do that another time. So a unique selling proposition. So how can you apply what you're learning right now? The unique selling proposition is something that you need to understand and apply right away. And I'm not talking about a week from now. I'm talking about do it right now, right this second. You need to understand it and you need to apply it, because a unique selling proposition will change over time. And when it changes over time, you need to really understand why it's changing or how you need to change it. Your market could change and your unique selling proposition could become obsolete. As a business, you need to be able to adapt. So a couple of exercises you can do to create a unique selling proposition. I recommend buying a book by Dan Kennedy. It's called The Ultimate Marketing Plan. It's got a section in there about creating a unique selling proposition. That can help you out. A couple of exercises that you can do is write down 25 things that you're an expert at or that makes you unique. 25 things. Just, maybe you speak foreign languages. Maybe you know how to write business plans. Maybe you know how to write copy. Maybe you know how to do web design. Maybe you're good at writing. Maybe you're good at teaching. Those kinds of things. You need to make sure you write all that stuff down, because you'll be able to create a unique proposition for somebody when they're looking for your service. Now, I think it goes hand in hand with the product or service that you're offering, obviously, and it's not a tagline. It's not a tagline. Just do it. I'm loving it. Those are taglines. That's not a unique selling proposition. Some taglines are unique selling propositions, but a unique selling proposition is very, very different from a tagline. So really what I want you to understand is a unique selling proposition positions you in front of your prospect so that you can actually capture their attention first and foremost, and secondly, solve their problem. That's really what a unique selling proposition does. So just keep that in mind when you're writing it down. So if you say, I'm an expert at teaching. Well, if somebody sees your unique selling proposition, their USP, and you say basically, oh yeah, I'm good at teaching. Well, why are you good at teaching? Why do I need your teaching services? What am I going to do with you after I'm done getting your teaching services? So, that's really just an idea that you want to throw around. So like I said, make sure you educate yourself a little bit more on USPs. There's a ton of academic books that you can read. There's tons of case studies that you can find online. Just really observe businesses in general, and you'll find what unique selling propositions they have, those different USPs. How can you learn from their mistake? How can you learn from the mistake of this coffee shop? Number one, understand your market. What are you selling? Are you selling your own services, or are you selling a product? Is the product tangible? Is it intangible? Where are you in the big picture of things? Are you coming in at a low barrier of entry, and basically there's a ton of people that are in this market that are all vying for the same piece of the pie? Or are you a niche? Did you carve out a niche that no one else really operates in? You got to understand that first and foremost, because with this coffee shop, they were literally a block away from a Starbucks, and it's hard not to be a block away from any Starbucks anywhere in the world right now. But you really have to understand, if you're going to be a coffee shop, you need to be separate from your market. You need to really be able to hold your own in the particular industry that you're in, or you're dead in the water again, because these giants will squeeze you out. Business is cutthroat, and it always has been cutthroat. Alright guys, sorry about that. I had power issues here, so let me get back in line here. Okay, so business is really cutthroat. Okay, businesses will see you, and they'll see you as a threat, and they will go after your weaknesses until you absolutely are crushed and gone. So every time that you go into a market, you really want to know who you're playing against and how you're going to exploit the situation. Knowing your competition and understanding your market, okay? Thirdly, advertise. Advertising is absolutely critical. Don't start a business without a plan for advertising. If you do not advertise, period, you will fail. That's just the bottom line. If you're watching this video and you're looking to build your business online, I'll explain to you exactly what it is that I do to advertise, and I'll explain that to you and how you could do it at a cost multitudes of fractions less than some of the biggest players out there. But you absolutely have to advertise. Lastly, you have to have a unique selling proposition. I talked about this in depth, and I can't stress it enough. You have to be different from everybody else in the game, or else you're just another player and you're just going to get crushed out. And that's just the bottom line on that. So just to kind of recap everything, guys, this particular case study that I did, the cardinal sin really was that they did not have a unique selling proposition. I observed that they had irregular business hours and they had too many employees. They didn't advertise. Just absolutely they went about it the wrong way. Now personally, if I were going to go into the coffee business, what I would have done differently would be to buy a franchise and an established brand. I would use that established brand to really understand what it would take to run a coffee shop. Because the coffee industry is so cutthroat, having an established brand would have protected me a little bit from the risk of opening up a store downtown. By having that risk minimized, or at least mitigated in some degree, at least you would have had a fighting chance to succeed, and you could leverage the advertising efforts of the franchise. That's really what I would have done differently. And then on top of that, obviously, would be to make sure that I had enough working capital, enough cash up front to absorb all of the losses that I would incur up until the time of profitability, which hopefully wouldn't have been that long had you had an established brand. So that was really what I would have done differently if I was in this same situation, or hindsight looking back. So my call to action today is that if you really want to succeed in business, but you're not really sure how to get started, then what I want you to do is click the link below, look at that video, make sure you opt in and get on my mailing list. You'll be taken to a video. In that video, it's about 11 minutes long. I want you to watch the entire video, and I want you to decide if that's something that that's worth your time to look at. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the individuals that watch this video today, and I'm going to give you a live attendee bonus. The people, and all you have to do is watch the video and watch it to the very end. And I will know that you're watching this live because I will be able to check my email inbox time to see when you email me. So what I want you to do is watch the video at the end of this link down below in the description. Email me support@markgroup1.com. That's also in the description. I want you to email me and tell me that you're done watching this video. Give me your the best time to email you back, or the best time that you will be able to be available by phone, and I will give you a call back. What I'm going to do then is give you a 15-minute consultation on what you want to do in your business. I don't care what it is. All I want to know is that you've watched that video all the way through. That way we have a basis for our conversation. So the bonus today, the call to action, is for you to watch the video at the end of the link, and I want you to email me support@markgroup1.com. I'll give you a 15-minute consultation, and this is only open to the first 5 people that email me, and I'll be able to look and see who hit my inbox. So do that, take action right now, and I will see you on the next video.